Okay, so this is my webcam post for the first part of Stoner. What themes are you seeing emerge? What are we learning about America? Is Stoner a complete loser? The themes that I first noticed are confinement, dullness, and lack of excitement. This sort of reminds me of when we read about the lack of excitement in suburbia, but without the alcohol. So that theme is pretty much in this book, but without the alcohol. Stoner comes from this farm where he used to work alongside his parents, who have aged a great amount despite being fairly young. This shows how reliant they are on the fields as their source of income, since there isn't much else. So they spend a large amount of their time um, working on the fields to be able to, sustain themselves. They send their only son off to school for the purpose of learning to get more out of the land rather than to better himself and do something else with his life. Um, I think that both his life and his actions are largely dull and um, they lack excitement since he doesn't really make an effort to put himself out there. He confines himself to the library and his classes and not much else. He stays in the university, which is his comfort zone in a sense, and he doesn't reach out further than that. For example, he chooses not to enlist to fight Germany, and he is relieved that he was offered a job at the university than any other place. He closes himself in and doesn't really go out in the world like he's supposed to, ideally. I guess from this we learn how the events of the time period shift people's interests. Everyone is leaving to fight off Germany, and social life in America is put on hold for a while. The university is understaffed, and essentially that's the only reason Stoner gets the job to begin with. And when people return from the war, there are thousands dead, so not everyone returns. And the environment changes with the return of those who did make it through. Um, is Stoner a complete loser? No, I wouldn't say he's a loser. He is just um, he just hasn't found himself yet. I think that people are affected differently by the events in their lives, and in this instance, his life was just um, getting up, doing the work on the farm, school, and then work again. It's largely routine without purpose. Before the university, he isn't excited about anything, nor is he discouraged by much. It talks about how he does his homework much the way he does his labor work. He doesn't. He just kind of. It's kind of like a task. Like you just check it off and on to the next. And it's like a continuous flow of that. He doesn't really. It doesn't really talk much about what he does on his spare time because it seems that he has no spare time. And if he does, there's not much that he does. There's not. There's nothing that interests him initially. And now, um, once he finds that he really likes literature, all he does is read, and he doesn't do much else other than that either. He sort of just finds one thing, likes it, and doesn't have much else to do, if that makes sense. And then he feels like time is sort of catching up to him, I guess, when he says that he can't cut, like he feels that he can't catch up on the amount, or he has so much to learn but doesn't have enough time for it. Um, so you can't really blame him. His life was dull and almost depressing, but yet again, you understand why he is the way he is, so you really can't, or I really can't consider him a complete loser. It's just someone who lacks excitement in everyday life. It's the way I see it.